Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another podcast. This is the Art of Tranquillity Podcast. In this podcast, we talk about all things to do with art and much more. I am your host, Matthew, and in today's episode, we have a special guest, which is my boyfriend, Luke. Did you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're quite welcome. We do have questions that I have wrote out for today's podcast, as well as it's very sunny as well today. I'm quite glad that it has been very sunny over the past few days because we're finally getting into summer, which is making me a lot more happier than when it's dark and gloomy. Do you like the sunshine?
Yes.
I'm glad. Right, did you want to tell us a bit about yourself? Like, kind of like what your hobbies you kind of have, what you kind of do about your day-to-day life, and kind of like interests, like what you like doing with your life.
Um, I mean, if you ask me, I'm pretty boring.
No.
I like playing games and hanging out with dogs downstairs and
You do like
talking to the
doing that.
hamsters.
You do that as well, yes. You also clean them out more often than what I do because I'm quite allergic to the hamster. I don't think it's the hamsters itself. I generally think it could be the actual like sawdust.
Yeah.
Or do you not even think it could be the sawdust? Do you think it's more of like the urine that's in the sawdust kind of mixes together?
Mm,
Or do you think it is just genuinely like the sawdust and all the little fibers that come with it?
probably just the sawdust and the hay.
Yeah, or like the grassy stuff?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not
Because
a
like
doctor.
it's very potent when I can smell it. Like when I go up to the kitchen and smell it, it's that definitely smell that I feel like that's when it starts getting me to wheeze. And
Yeah, I'm not a
just
doctor, so
no, yeah, we're not doctors, but this is all just potential. It's not confirmed. Well, it's confirmed that I'm definitely allergic to something to do with these hamsters.
yes.
We just don't know what. But yeah, I can't wait to have a bigger place one day.
Yes.
Right, hobbies and interests. So dogs, animals, an animal lover,
Yes. That is
and
correct.
games. What? So you would say at least every day for your day to day, you'd at least need to interact with some sort of animal, and
Yeah.
also have played some amount of games
Yeah.
day to day. Is
Yeah.
there anything else
Otherwise,
that is like a
bored.
must have in your day?
Music,
Music. Yeah, as I can see by your profile picture.
specifically Taylor Swift.
Yes, no other music will do. It has to be. And that's a daily occurrence as well, right?
Yes, I mean, I'm sure she's going to watch this podcast. So, Taylor Swift, if you are, I love you and we should be besties.
Fun fact for people that don't know, I was the one that got Savior into Taylor Swift
Yeah, so it's his fault.
from Evermore and Folklore, right? Which one came out
Yes.
first? Folklore? Evermore?
Folklore, but you showed me Evermore
Oh, right.
before. You didn't really
Yes.
show me Folklore.
I didn't show you Folklore.
No, not really. I don't think so.
Uh,
Mainly Evermore.
yes. I know, because that's the. I don't know what songs are actually in those songs, but that was the ones I mainly. I guess that's the. Well, I kind of stopped less. I stopped listening to her music less as time went on from those albums. But from any of those albums and the ones before, that's the ones I listened to the most compared to the newer albums.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I remember the Me song. I remember listening to that one a lot, but where does that fall in?
Yeah,
That
that's
fall,
Lover.
does that fall in before?
That's before Folklore.
Right, like yes, because I thought that would make more sense, right? Yeah, I didn't think it would have been after. But does the album come out after?
No, so Me is in the Lover album, which came out before
But did it
Folklore.
not come out as a single first?
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Before the album? Well, that would make sense actually.
yeah. She hid the name of the album in the Me
Right.
music video.
Perfect. Do I need to turn you up at all, or is everyone? I think it should be fine. I'm just making sure that all volumes are all good as the podcast is starting. Right. So hobbies, interests, animal. Did you want to go through your animals, or should we do that later in the podcast, like during it? When do you think we
I don't
should bring
mind.
in the animal conversation?
I
I
think
mean,
we should just talk about Taylor Swift for the entire hour.
what was the first main song that you got into then about Taylor Swift? If you want to talk about Taylor Swift, we could talk about Taylor Swift.
Okay, I mean, I was
That this
joking,
could
but
be
if you're
before
any,
me, by the way, like before you met me, because you said
if,
I remember you speaking about it yesterday and about the Me song. You used to listen to that one a lot as well as I used to listen to that one a lot.
well, yeah, I mean, everybody knows like the classics that was always at the school discos,
But
like
would you
"Shake It
know the
Off,"
words, or would
and
you just kind of know
well,
that?
I knew the chorus, but
And
I didn't
did you know
really.
they were by Taylor Swift at that time as well?
I guess so, but like I didn't really care about any music at all.
Yeah. What
So
would it just be games then? You'd be primarily focused back then as well.
yeah,
So like instead of listening to music, you'd just be gaming away.
yeah.
Oh yes, that's actually a good question because I actually don't really know these. What was mainly your childhood games that you played up growing up? Talk about the console and then kind of the games that you played when you were
Well, um, I
younger.
briefly remember like the very old like PlayStation 2
Mm,
and whatnot,
yeah,
but I only like vaguely remember that, and I think it was the PlayStation 2. I used to have a Dora the Explorer game on there.
that's adorable.
I can't remember what it was called, but I think I had to collect little stars in it, and they had like little faces on them, and they were all different colors.
Was it like a puzzle game or was it just kind of straightforward?
It had a story, I think, but I can't really remember it.
I
I
feel like
just
we
know,
should try finding this game one day and bring it back to
yeah,
you for
I
nostalgia.
I just know it. I played this game
Uh-huh.
at some point.
I remember a Winnie Pooh the game, and I can't remember what we did in it, but there was a main story to it. You would go through levels. There were kind of like puzzly kind of levels, and as you would go through them, you would kind of recruit all the Winnie Pooh and his friends, and then the further you got in, you would unlock mini games to then go out of the game and go into a mini game section at the main screen, and then you'd play mini games. And I remember playing that game and really enjoying it for some particular reason. Did you play
I
a
don't,
lot of Mario when you were younger?
yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
then it would be like the DS Lite and this
Yeah.
the Nintendo Wii
Yeah.
with Mario and Sonic.
Oh, you played a lot of Sonic?
Specifically Mario for me, but like Sonic was there.
Right. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, see with a DS, did you play with like that DS that was like the thick DS? If you remember what I was talking
I
like
think I pretty much had every
right.
DS
It was like the
besides the
greyish one
original
that
3.
was like a big block kind of DS. Kind of before DS Lite. So it was just like
I,
I think it was kind of just the original DS.
I
Because
think
I
so.
remember bringing that into primary school to play it on like Golden Time and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I brought it in, and then I remember taking it out, and it had the Mario game in it as well, like already just like plugged in. So I didn't bring like the case with me. It was already just kind of in the actual device. I took it out, and it got mushed all with this plum that I had in my bag as well, that my mother
Uh,
packed. That I didn't know that she packed this plum, by the way. There was a mysterious plum that was just plopped in my bag without any protection, and then it was just getting mushed around with my DS. And when I took it out, it all got on the insides of my DS. And see the game, it's like it has that little white sticker on showing that it's Mario. It became like this brown mush that was just kind of like infused
ew.
within the game, and it just broke at that point. But I think the game maybe still worked. It forever has like a plum stain on the front of it now as well. I can't remember which Mario it was, but a Mario with worlds that had worlds that you go to that was 2D. And going back to those games are like literally impossible. I want to play them again though. I want to play a lot of nostalgia games again.
Yeah.
Like back in
I don't
because
really
like
like old.
the best thing about it is like Switch has the thing where you can play all those old games as long as you've got the Nintendo online thing, and then you can play all of the old Nintendo
Yeah.
64 and NES games, which I think is really fun. And then you can save it at points as well. I would love to play them again. I just feel like they were really difficult back then, but I don't know if that's just because I was a kid and then maybe now it'll be easier, or maybe it'll be
Yeah.
even more difficult because now we're used to all these different kind of difficulty level of games that
Yeah.
maybe back then games were just surprisingly more difficult and we just got understood them, and then now we've been gifted these easier games that are more straightforward. Don't know. I feel like we'll need to try them out as
I mean,
well.
I was obsessed with Pokemon. I still am. But like those games were difficult for me, or like
Mm.
the original ones.
Do you remember the first Pokemon game you played?
I want to say it was either um Pokemon Diamond and Pearl or Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Do you remember how
I don't,
far you were getting into them, or did you never really get to complete them? It was just more of like,
definitely never completed them
yeah,
because I mean I didn't even really care that much. I would just kind of
play
play.
around.
I
Yeah.
remember getting to a certain point, but like I think
Uh-huh.
I'd just end up getting to a point where I would not know what I'm doing, and then I would just give up.
Yeah. The one I played was the Pokemon Sapphire, like the original, the Game Boy one, but I played it on DS Lite because you know how it's got that extra like cartridge you can put at the bottom of your DS. Played it
Yeah.
on that, and that was the one I played a lot of. But what I did was, which was really weird, and I remember doing it. Always still went Trico, by the way. Trico was just my beloved, and it's always been my favorite. The only reason that I really like Trico as well is because I watched a playthrough. I used to love watching playthroughs of Pokemon while I played Pokemon and make the exact decisions that they also made, which was really weird because like they would pick Trico and I know they picked Trico because they actually said it was the least popular one and that nobody else likes Trico, so they're just gonna pick it. It said they would rather have picked Torchic as well in that video, but they picked Trico. So then I picked Trico and ended up actually loving them, but I don't think they actually really cared for Trico. But I cared about Trico. And then they named it like Green Ninja. So then I named my Trico Green Ninja, and then anything that they made and tamed, because I remember they got a Ralts, so I also got myself a Ralts, even though it was very difficult back in that game to encounter a Ralts because they were also very rare on that little route. Got my Ralts, and then they named it Sasha, and I was like, I'm gonna name mine Sasha too. So I just like, copied every move that they made, and I would like pause their game, walk up to their point, do exactly what they did, press play on theirs, see what they do again, and then copy their exact movements. It got a bit chaotic, to be honest. But then I also remember in Pokemon Sapphire, at the very beginnings, just keep staying on that Route 1 and leveling up my people. And I remember even evolving my Trico from Route 1 to Sceptile and getting to like level like 17 and 18 on that Route 1 while just like I don't know why I did that. I don't know if I just thought that'll be like an easier way to like level up, but like if you continue on the game, you would start like defeating enemies that were easier level and you would level up a lot faster.
Yeah.
Just I don't know why I did that. But yeah, that's what I used to do on Pokemon Sapphire.
I don't. It's like I said, I don't really remember all that much from a while ago. What I did, I just know that my first Pokemon was Piplup, and I don't remember anything else about the team. I just remember Piplup.
Yeah. So would you say Piplup's one of your favorites?
Yeah,
Because that
definitely.
is like your main. So I feel like that's how everyone gets their favorites. I feel like kind of from
Hmm.
like their first ever main Pokemon they ever come
But
across.
I guess at that time when I was younger, it was at the like the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl point of the anime. So
Okay. Yeah, I
one of
never
my
watched
favorite,
anime because I
one
know
of my
you did.
favorite female like protagonists in the anime. She was called Dawn, and her first Pokemon was Piplup, and it to this day it's still a Piplup, and
Okay.
um, I think that's probably why I really like Piplup because she's so funny, and she had a Piplup.
Yeah, so it's more like the character. So it's more the anime that got you into your favorite Pokemon then.
Uh huh.
Oh. I know you also like Serena.
Yeah, Serena, but like not
That's
to
like more of a
confuse any
newer Pokemon as well.
people that know Pokemon. I'm not talking about Serena as in the girl
Yes,
that's
the
in the
Pokemon.
show. I'm talking about the Pokemon Sarina.
Yeah, from Sun and Moon.
Yeah, she is a
The
queen.
Aloha region.
No, Alola.
Not the Aloha.
No, Aloha is how you say hello in Hawaii.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. The region was called.
No, the region is the Alola region.
Um, is that us spoke about the tell me about yourself question?
Maybe Pokemon Taylor Swift. That's all you need to know.
In dogs, though. Well,
Oh yeah,
animals, not dogs. But did you want to talk about
dogs.
that later on? Because did you not have a story that you wanted to share? Then we can, once we
Um,
get to that point, we can talk about all of the animals you've ever encountered and
yeah,
snatched up
maybe,
along your way.
probably.
Probably. Okay. Right. So the next question I have here is what intrigues you about art and what do you like about art? Now, before I begin saying like about your question, I know that you've never been into art, but to try your best to go deep down and figure
Um,
out
I
what
mean,
what do you
I
like
can
about
tell
it?
you that art was my favorite subject in school because it was basically a free period where I did nothing.
But I thought you did
Um,
drama.
yeah, but like I took drama when I had to take specific lessons, but before I got to that point, I had to take every lesson,
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
same.
that
Yeah, like in the
included
first.
art.
Yeah.
And everybody else, although actually saying that, um, I made a bird out of this cotton ball thing. I made an owl. You have seen it. I've shown you it before.
Uh,
Um, and that is to this day is my most prized art possession that I ever made. Because and she wouldn't
we've
mind me saying
created art
this, but
together.
is my friend made well, I say made. She painted a potato green and stuck paper on it for wings. And she is to this day a good artist, but that I beat her on that, and I think about that often.
So you could have become better.
So I can make owls out of cotton balls.
That's good. That's good. We've created a bunch of art before as well, haven't we? During our, it
Yeah,
was mainly across summer, wasn't it? I think last
yeah, but
year.
mine aren't very good.
Yes, they are. But I
I
don't have one
painted a
right next to
toilet
me.
roll to look like a rabbit.
I've got one right next to me. I don't know if one people could see it, but like this is a swan
Oh
that
yeah, that swan was
was.
actually quite cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like the sky and it goes up into like space, doesn't it? So it
Yeah,
starts off as like your sky with your clouds and then it goes into like the more spacey
yeah, I tried
spheres.
hard with that one.
I don't know where mine's is. Oh, mine's is up here. Mine's is kind of worse. I mean, you can tell us in the comments below, but this is my one. It's more of a pink one. This doesn't like yours. Honestly, you know what I don't have on? My ring light.
Oh, don't you?
No, I'm gonna start putting on my ring light. Wait, what? There was.
Restart the podcast. We can talk more about Taylor Swift.
You can talk about more about Taylor Swift now if you want. What was I gonna say? There was something about art that when you were talking that I was.
Um, I
Oh,
don't,
I can't
I don't
remember.
know. I went on about talking about potato birds and my owl.
You did say that. You did. Oh, we also did it from toilet paper as well, didn't we?
Yeah,
We
that's my rabbit.
we created our little Easter kind of
That's my little rabbit. That's not very good.
that. I mean, we kind of rushed. Oh, we went camping, like with quotations over
Oh
that.
yeah.
Where we created these little necklace kind of things. Well,
Oh
no,
yeah.
not necklace. A ornament kind of thing.
It's like a bauble.
Yeah, I like a bauble, but with a heart. Oh gosh, I've got pins and needles in my leg. Help! I don't know what to
Um,
do.
yours was much better than mine though.
No, I really did love mines. I can't remember what yours. No, it was the one. Did it not say boo in it because it was like Halloweeny?
I think so.
Oh wait, no, it was boo
Maybe.
because you call me boo sometimes. Back
I
then,
can't remember.
yeah.
I can't really
Um,
remember. I just remember yours.
Mine's is in the distance. I could probably get over to it, but I've got pins and needles right now, and I can't stand up, so I'm not gonna go to get it.
It's fine.
um,
Um,
What else have you did that's kind of art related then? Do you remember any other artworks that you've created before?
I mean, my mum is really good at art.
Oh, really?
I know that's not me,
Oh,
but
you can talk about that. What
my
what
mum
did
is
they
really
used
good at art.
what did they used to make?
And I mean, she just kind of does all sorts because she like works, you know, like she works in a nursery, so she's often creating, I don't know, big caterpillars and big butterflies and big fish. I don't know, whatever interesting thing they
Yeah.
decide to make that day.
Yeah. I
But
remember,
like,
I don't know if it was actually, I don't think it was your mum that created it, but I remember seeing on the wall that butterfly thing that's got those little papers that are rolled up.
um,
Because
I mean,
I've made
maybe
something similar, but I want to make something like that again.
it might. Oh, right, yeah, I
I
remember
took
now.
a
No, yeah,
photo of it.
my mum didn't make that,
Yeah,
but
I didn't think so, but I remember seeing that, and it
I
sparked
think,
interest in me because I wanted to make something like that at some point.
yeah, I don't know. I think that was bought, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
really
been there
like
for
it.
ages.
It is quite a simple kind of thing to make. It depends on what you're making. That one's
Yeah.
more intricate, I think, compared to different ones.
Uh huh.
But I think that could be like a fun. I want to try a lot of different things over the summer, like just experimenting with different art stuff. Also, sorry, I'm just messing around with my hair because my hair is very, very, very long at the moment, and I need to get it cut before we also go on holiday. I'll do that, but it's very, very long and it's kind of mismatched in colors because I've got brown dye in it, as well as kind of like your hair with also ginger. So like the under part is very bright compared to when it's all on top. It can a lot darker. You can get sides as well.
Yeah.
Just all over the place at the moment, isn't it? Also, the ring light has improved so much. I forgot that I didn't even have it on. Luckily, it's sunny right now, so there was a light coming in there.
Yeah.
That's just how I didn't realize. I was like, oh yeah, lighting looks good. Didn't realize though, and it has made a big improvement. I just completely forgot about the good old ring light. What else about art? I mean, what do you like about art in general? What kind of art would you say you like? Because most people that are not into art kind of tend to like the more realism side of art compared to the more abstract,
Well,
expressionist kind of art.
I guess it depends on the realism. If it's a picture of somebody's face, I'm not that bothered.
Right.
Um, but if it's like a cool landscape of a forest
Uh-huh.
or mountains or a beach, then that's really cool,
Some more
and I
stuff to
like
do with
those
nature.
ones.
Kind of like what
Yeah,
I do, I guess, in a way. I mean, mine isn't really
yeah.
realism, but it kind of captures the essence of what that place looks like as well at the same time, I guess. I
I
mean,
also
just
like
recently I
when,
did assemblage. Sorry, what were you
yeah,
gonna say?
where people they'll just like create their own thing entirely themselves. Like I think they're some of the cooler ones where they just make their own thing from scratch.
Oh,
And
like
it just turns
3D?
into, I guess, anything, painting,
Anything? Painting?
drawing.
Yeah. I've got a lot of canvases that I want to start using again. 'Cause I was talking about in the last podcast that I want to revive my Etsy store again, and I really want to get into more painting and even revamping some of my old paintings and painting over them. They're still keeping the same image, but they're kind of like rusty crusty, so I kind of want to like revamp them back up and restore the painting. And
Yeah.
then because I've paid, I need to. People don't know about this yet, but I went back on my Etsy store and I had to pay a bunch of stuff because I had like over something days, and it was a bit chaotic. But I've got it all sorted now, and I'm ready to. Don't know when I'm gonna start doing it. Hopefully towards like sometime in summer, because it's all
Yeah.
sorted now. It's just a matter of making new listings. So I think I might make them into shorts and upload them that way, and then kind of just promote the Etsy store any way I can, so people know to check it out to see if any of the art does intrigue you. Like
Mhm.
anytime I make a new artwork and put the listing up, I'm not gonna do what I did last time. For I don't think anyone actually knows about the old listings, but I did have a good like over 50 listings, and every listing costs a certain amount to keep up every month. So I won't be putting a lot of listings up. I'll put certain ones that I know that I really like and not just trying to put up a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
Because you should only put up a certain few, and then once those start getting sold, you can put up more again, kind of thing. I'll keep it more controlled, more organized and stuff as well. And then I'll just make sure to be linking the Etsy store in any sort of content that I create. I'll make sure to have it somewhere so people can access it easily and be able to check it out. I need a new name for it though, because right now it's just my name and it feels a bit weird. I want like a new, cool, revamped name. Maybe something to do with the Art of Tranquillity, actually. Tranquil store. What's a T word that begins? There's something to do with a store. Trade? Tranquility
Um,
trade. No. You know what? Like, I would think about it, but like I just don't know at the top of my head.
uh,
But maybe something to
T is a
do.
weird letter.
What?
T is a difficult letter.
Yeah, I thought trade. That's the only word I can think of to do something to do with store related stuff is trade. Tranquility trade. I mean, it feels doesn't. It's not too bad, but I feel like I want it to do. I want it to be like alliteration. I know that could be
Yeah.
very like eye catching to people if it has a nice,
Yeah.
very nice name. But I feel like I've wanted to do something with that because then it would kind of relate to me if that makes sense. Well,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that
I mean,
was well,
I guess for me personally, because art, I suppose, isn't just pictures. I like writing.
yeah,
So if I had to do anything with art, I guess I would choose the art of writing stories
yeah.
more so than any form of painting.
Yes. I mean, there's a
And I
lot of
guess
things
in
that
this,
you could do in the art industry as well.
and I guess somehow here I am once again bringing everything back around to Taylor Swift, but music is also a type of art,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
therefore she is my favorite artist.
I've did a lot of art
Other
to
than
do
you,
with sound art. Like, sound art is something that you can get into, and you should probably try it. You can listen to even Taylor Swift, and then have even just like a pen in hand and a piece of paper, and then just kind of like even close your eyes if you want to and listen to Taylor Swift without singing it because you do that. Just kind of really truly listen to like the background sounds as well as the actual sound, and kind of let your hand glide across the paper and see where it takes you as listening to the rhythm of the beats as well. And then creating sound art. You can use a pen that can be used with water, and then you can get some water and then also start painting with water and then see how it all infuses together to create like a nice little piece that's created
yeah,
by using Taylor Swift's music. Because there is a lot of stuff to do with sound art that you can get into. I know
yeah,
you said you didn't want to do anything with painting, you wanted to stuff with writing as well, but that's just a nice way that nothing can really go wrong with that because it's meant to
yeah,
look very abstract and it's to do with music. Kind of fun.
yeah. I
Do
can
it
see that.
together. We can both listen to either the same song or listen to different songs and see what each
Yeah.
other can create. Because that could be fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
It does, doesn't it? It does, it does. Right. Should we move on to the next question?
Okay.
Right, so the next one is any stories, and it does not need to be about art. So it can be any kind of story about your life that you would want to share to everybody.
Um, I mean, I don't know. It's like I said, I'd say I'm very boring. Um,
Oh,
but I guess I could tell the story of how I got my rabbits because
yes, please.
my rabbits
People probably
are
don't know that you've had rabbits.
no. So I've had like um. This is why I need to think. One, two, let's say like five. I think rabbits. I think overall,
Like
maybe
total rabbits.
I think so. But I mean, like, so I originally had no rabbits, obviously, and
Uh-huh.
it was just my friend who had rabbits, and I would help her look after them
Yes.
whilst trying to persuade my own parents to let me have one of the rabbits. But
Right.
then, because like I said, my friend had like I think it was like 21 rabbits.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot because they just kind of, they're saying like breed like rabbits. They just kept breeding and like they couldn't, like it was hard to control
Yes.
because it just kind of kept happening. And the first time it happened, they thought that both of the rabbits were the same gender anyway, so they thought it would never happen.
Uh-huh.
But then it just kept happening.
Crazy.
But so I had my favorite of the little rabbits was called I called Brownie, and it was a he, and he was a little, brown fluff ball rabbit with like some darker patches
Yeah.
everywhere, but like light overall.
Yes.
And I love brownies.
I also love brownies.
So he was called Brownie, and
We should make brownies. Sorry.
the plan no yeah we should the plan was to take Brownie home once I persuaded my mum and dad, once he got a bit older and wasn't as much of a baby. But at this time, it was like some kind of like disease amongst the rabbits kind of took place
Okay.
and kind of started affecting only a few of the rabbits that were in this person's care, but sadly Brownie was one of them. And Brownie ended up going to the vet and needed to be, put to sleep
Yeah.
because the disease was just like strong in
Overtaken.
few of the rabbits, and it was the only way really to control it.
Yeah.
So then I ended up getting a slightly blonde but also brown rabbit who I brought home called Toffee,
Okay.
who did end up coming to my house for a bit, but sadly, once again, this disease it must have been in Toffee, but no, we
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah.
until it was like, Toffee had already come home with us. And at first, like for the first few days, it was another he was fine,
Yeah.
but then it just got him
Hmm.
without like any really warning. And then the same had to happen to Toffee as what happened to Brownie.
Yeah.
But then I ended up getting my two wonderful bunnies. I ended up getting two this time because we at first as well we wasn't sure whether or not Toffee maybe didn't cope very well because it
It
was
was
used to having
alone. Yeah.
15 other
Withdrawals.
siblings. So
Yeah.
just to be sure,
Yeah.
we ended up getting two rabbits called Patch and Piper.
Uh-huh.
Patch was a black and white, like really, really fluffy bunny
I
whose
loved
ears flopped
Patch.
downwards,
Yeah. Patch looks
and
adorbs.
Piper was like a snow bunny. She was completely white and
Hmm.
she had red eyes.
Yeah.
And I had both of these rabbits for a very, very, very long time. They started out in
Do you want me to show
like a
the canvas thing that we've got?
oh yeah,
I'll
let's
show that.
certainly we'll get to those other rabbits later.
Yeah. So which one's the one I know which one Patch looks like, but I can't remember the other two if you've talked about them yet.
No, I've not talked about the other
Right,
two yet.
so I'll show Patch. That one is hard to see because of the ring light, but you can clearly see that that one was Patch there, the one with the little
Yeah,
floppy doppy ears.
the black and white one with floppy ears.
It was no, Patch just looks adorbs.
Yes,
Right, so that one was Patch. Sorry, just
and Piper was, like I said, she was like she didn't have any other things on her. She was just completely white. I'm sure I'll have a picture of her somewhere. I'd have to find it, but she was completely white and just had these really nice red eyes.
yeah,
And they were both Patch and Piper were girlies. They were sisters, and so they lived together in a like what was at first it was a really small hutch because they used to be teeny tiny little things. They just kind of lived in a small one until I was able to get a rabbit hutch, which was one of my friends gave me, and it was a really really big one
yeah,
that had like a top area and a bottom area with like a run and everything attached to it, and so they
uh,
could run onto the grass whenever they wanted, and they could like just do whatever.
yeah,
And I had I had Patch and Piper for a few years, but then sadly, all thanks to Bonfire Night,
Yeah.
We think it was to do with the fireworks, but we're not we can't be sure. But one morning, it was after bonfire night. We'd made sure the rabbits were covered, and I kept checking on them all night,
Yeah.
and they were okay.
Yeah.
But when I came down the next morning, Piper, and only Piper, was then lying, like she was just lying down
Uh-huh.
and not really being herself.
Yeah.
So we moved her into like a different hutch just to like quarantine her from Patch, just to make sure that Patch didn't catch anything if it was an illness.
Yeah. Yeah.
But sadly later that, like I think like later that exact day, Piper died.
Oh dear.
And
I couldn't hear you, by the way, because the PC just switched itself off. But
oh
we are still recording. That gave me a heart attack because one time I was recording, I got to like 40 minutes, and then it cut off, and the recording just stopped itself. But thankfully, I was able to click on the thing because you just stopped talking and it gave me a heart attack. Because I was just there peacefully listening to you. But so you said about the fireworks, and then there was an illness, and then there was a quarantine, and then you moved to Patch.
no, we moved Piper
Oh,
into a different one,
oh, away
but
from
late,
Patch.
yeah, away from Patch. But later that same day, Piper died sadly, and we buried her in the garden, and we had a little rabbit funeral. But Patch was okay,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When
and
was
then
this? Like the year?
oh god, um, I'm probably not giving you the exact date, but let's just say like 2017.
Right, around there.
Uh huh.
Okay.
And um, then it was just Patch for a little bit, but because we had lost Piper, we wanted like another rabbit, I guess, for the sake of Patch. But we were a little bit scared, obviously, to introduce a new rabbit
Oh yeah,
because,
especially because with their ages now as well.
uh huh. But my friend still had all these other rabbits back home whose babies had also had babies, whose babies had also had babies by this point.
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing is we ended up picking up another rabbit, a little girl called Chestnut.
Which one was? Is if have we got the photo for Chestnut?
Yeah, so Chestnut's the brown one.
The Philly Brown one?
Yeah, I
The
like to think that Chestnut is what Brownie would have been
right. Yeah.
if Brownie had managed to grow from like past his baby stage. But like Brownie, I'd say would be more fluffy.
Yes.
But so Chestnut was my other little girly rabbit who
Really.
we put in a separate hutch to
Girly.
Patch to start off with, and we would occasionally like let them, touch noses through the bars just to like get used to each other.
Yeah.
And especially because Chestnut at that point was still like a little baby, so she had some more growing to do
Yeah.
before they could really be introduced. But without me knowing, what my dad would do is he would secretly let the like Patch and Chestnut like run around together to like get them introduced with each other. But I didn't know that he was doing this because like I said, I was scared to put them together because I was scared
For
they
the
would fight.
yeah. Yeah, and then they might get injured.
So he was doing that when one day, and I remember this day, I was eating chicken nuggets in the kitchen, obviously,
What kind of chicken
and
nuggets?
I had to well, I guess I wasn't even eating them yet, but they were getting made. And once I'd gotten home from school and I was doing my usual thing of going to the back garden and obviously feeding the rabbits
Yeah.
because they had to be fed.
Yes.
When I went to feed them and I opened up the like Patch's cage to get her food bowl, and I saw this like it was just like this lumpy skin thing. And I was like, what is that? And I had a mini panic thinking that she had, like, I don't know, somehow gotten hold of a bird
Yeah.
and she had, like, dragged it into the cage. And I was like, oh my God, like, is that a bird?
Yeah.
So I quickly, like, I had, like, a little look and I was like, I don't know. Like, if it's a bird, it must be like a young bird. So
Yeah.
I was like, did something maybe fall onto the floor and she's brought it into the cage?
Uh-huh.
But that is when I opened up her bedroom door to like sort out her like hay, and I saw that there was a bunch of baby bunnies sitting in her bedroom.
That must have felt
And I
like a
was like,
dream.
oh my God. Now, I guess what I can admit to
Huh.
is I had seen Patch like creating, like, well, pulling out her fur, which is a common thing for rabbits to do when they're going to be creating a nest for
Right.
baby bunnies.
Yeah.
But rabbits also pull out fur and create nests for phantom pregnancies as well.
Yeah, where they
So they
think
can,
they're pregnant.
yeah, they can think that they're pregnant, but they're not actually.
Yeah.
So when I saw her doing this, I just assumed that she was just having a phantom pregnancy
Yeah.
because it was only her and basically like her, girl sister bunny that was with her. So who
Huh.
hadn't even met, in my eyes. So I was like, oh, she's probably just like doing that. And what, like, I would check up on her because what you can do is if you rub your finger along the bottom of a rabbit's stomach, you can feel the babies
Oh
because you
yeah.
just feel like
The lumpy lumps. Yeah.
little lumps. Yeah. And I had done that. And as far as could tell, I couldn't feel anything.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's kind of one of those things where sometimes you can feel it, but sometimes maybe you think you feel it, but it's not actually there, or you just don't feel it at all.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I opened up the cage that day, and there was 6 baby bunnies in her bedroom, and that's when I discovered that the lump that was the in her main part of the cage, sadly, was a bunny that must have been stillborn.
Yeah.
And Patch was such a great mother. She was so great at it, bless her. She must have removed that one from the actual nest because she knew that it was not a living
Yeah.
one.
And there was nothing she.
So she moved it out of the way. So technically, I had 7 bunnies
Uh-huh.
who, like, I can kind of remember the names of some of them, but like there was a lot,
Uh-huh.
and it's been a while since obviously all this happened, so I can't really remember them. But I remember I had ones like Oreo, there was Nimbus, there was Cloud, there was the one that died. I decided to call it Angel
Orbs.
because I thought it deserved a name, even though it was a stillborn.
Yeah.
But obviously, that then left the question of where did these rabbits come from? And,
How did
to
this
our
even
surprise,
come about?
we discovered that Chestnut was not, in fact, a little girly. He was, in fact, a boy bunny
Yeah.
who, when my dad was letting them mingle without my knowledge, ended up breeding, and then
Oh.
we ended up with 7 little babies running about.
Yeah. Maybe your dad just secretly wanted that.
I hope so, because I secretly wanted it, but like I would never have like
Yeah, because you never
bred
know
them.
what could happen. There could be a lot more,
Uh-huh.
like,
But
I
like
guess,
I was very
negativity.
happy, very, very happy with them, and I cared for them
Yeah.
all their little lives, and I looked after them, and I cleaned them all, and I made sure they were all, and every single one of them did grow healthy. There was no
Good. That's good.
um like
How do
health
you care
issues or,
for rabbits then? Like, what difference? What the baby ones? Like, how different is it to care for a
well,
baby rabbit?
like I said, Patch was an amazing mother.
So she did like
So
the majority of the work
when
then.
they're in like the nest for like the first 2 weeks, you don't really do anything. You just leave it to her,
Okay. Oh, that's
and
kind of good then.
what I noticed, and I guess obviously it makes sense, is Patch was really hungry, like really hungry,
Yeah.
after she had had the babies. Because she was never somebody who I wouldn't put the food in and she would run straight to the food and
Okay.
start eating all of it. Like she
Yeah.
would never do that. She would just kind of have some, leave some, and then go
Isabella.
back to whenever she wanted. But no, she was ravenous
Yeah.
after having the babies, and she would eat all the food instantly, which obviously makes sense because then she would go and feed the babies,
Yeah. So like
like
she
with her
wants to
milk.
even she might have even not even been like hungry, but she knows that she
Uh
had
huh.
to eat a lot to
Uh
care for
huh.
the babies because she was
But
such a good mother.
eventually, after like the 2 week mark, the rabbits start growing their little fur, and they start like occasionally exploring the the bedroom area, but they'll go back to their nest and
Yeah.
snuggling with their
Started to
brothers and
gain their
sisters.
personalities.
Uh huh. But so like that's when I guess I would get involved and I would start like holding them and making sure they were
Oh,
okay.
did you get
But
photos of them?
I'll have the photos somewhere.
You want
I'll
me to
have
show?
to.
Like, do you have photos of you holding them?
I don't know, to be
I
honest.
think we need to
Like
get rabbits.
we definitely do, and I would want it to be done properly, but I'd love to be able to breed them again, knowing
Yeah,
that I am breeding them,
yeah,
because I can't describe to you how adorable it is to see the
yeah.
little bunnies
Oh my gosh, and
walking around.
everyone can get a bunny for their Christmas. Even if they don't want
Yes,
one, they're gonna have to get one.
and
Because, like, my
like it was just
gran, that's perfect for bunnies right there.
uh-huh. They were so like adorable doing like when this like they starting to like you said gain their personalities, and when they
Yeah,
started to like roam
do
the
their own thing.
roam the enclosure, and you'd obviously like you don't know what colors the rabbit's going to be when it's born, because
Yeah.
it's just born, it's a little pink
Yeah, because they're not all gonna look
thing.
identical.
No, yeah, every single one of the bunnies that I had were different, like skin toned.
Did any
Some
of them have
one of
red fur?
Well, I guess two of them, no. Two of them looked like kind of, well, one, and it was Oreo,
Uh-huh.
was like a spitting image of Patch, but like a little
Okay.
one.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was, and then there was like it was a real fluff ball, and then there was another one who I can't really remember the name, to be honest, but it was a spitting image of Patch, but with chestnut's fur type. So it was black and white, but not fluffy. It
Uh,
was just like thin coated.
okay.
And then I had one it was completely like a lovely like grey colour.
Uh,
One of them was the same color as chestnut. One of them, I think, was like slightly blonde. One of them was like basically white, but with like a little bit of black on them.
yeah,
Um, I like. I just know that you would love like to see the little.
uh,
It's like a little hamster, but like it looks like it's basically just a small rabbit.
yeah. Oh,
Like
yeah, it's adorable.
it is just like, I would love to have them again, and just like have any of them again.
Yeah, I would love to
But
do
like
that.
eventually, obviously, the rabbits. We didn't want to fall into the same problem
I
where the
feel
rabbit.
like we should take one of the hamsters. No, one of the not hamster. We should take one of the rabbits that is the kids of the kids of the kid of the kid of the kid of the kid.
I know we'd have to try and find them,
We'll
but like
search down. We'll
so.
track them down.
I didn't want to fall into the same problem that everybody else had, and end up with a bunch of baby bunnies, because of
Yeah, because then what do you
like
do?
definitely we were definitely not prepared to have these six baby bunnies running
Yeah,
around. Like
yeah,
if anything, we got lucky with it being six, because for all we know, they could have had 12. Like you
yes,
never know with rabbits. Like rabbits have had up to like 20 babies before.
yeah.
So like we definitely got lucky with six
Uh-huh.
being like I guess seven being like the minimum that we got.
Uh-huh.
But so obviously we eventually, once they had grown up, we needed to get to a point of rehoming them, which we did manage to find homes for all of them.
That's good. Did
One of
some people
them,
take multiple?
yes, it
Yeah.
was. It was always, I guess, it was really difficult for me, because
Oh, true.
I it wasn't up to me which rabbit a person would pick
Yeah,
when they wanted one.
yeah.
So
Because did you like
um,
Oreo?
I didn't have a favorite.
You didn't. You just
Um,
didn't want to see them go one off one by one.
yeah, like it was because because like six, like I said, isn't really that much, but like it
Yeah.
is a lot, but it's not that
I
much.
mean, you can give
When what
recommendations, I guess. Like if
uh
you
huh
like if someone wanted to take multiple, you'd be like, "Oh, this one and this one, they get along well, good." Like,
when one rabbit would go, you felt the lack of that rabbit, if
yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah, like it
So
doesn't,
like it was gone, and you were like, oh my god, I miss it.
and you wonder what Patch
But
would think as well.
I just remembered, actually, it was, so we had Oreo, and the other one was Hershey.
Oh, Hersh. Oh, adorbs.
So the grey one was called Nimbus,
Uh-huh.
and I don't think I can remember the other ones. But
I mean, they
oh
would have
wait,
got renamed, wouldn't they
the
have?
one that looked. like it was like a blondie one. I'm pretty sure that one was a girl. She was called Caramel.
That's what's all like to do with like food.
Uh huh. I have a
Surprise,
theme,
surprise.
kind of. But so eventually it was just
You should
Oreo
have
and
named one
Hershey.
Carrot.
Eventually it was just Oreo and Hershey that we had left. They were the last two
Uh-huh.
standing, and it got to a point where we were like, do we just make the decision to keep these two?
Yeah.
And like, in fact, actually, I know for a fact one of the rabbits went to my friend Josh. His younger
Okay.
sister
Yeah.
got one of the
Okay.
rabbits, and I named it a name, but I can't remember. But she renamed the hamster. No, not the hamster. She renamed the rabbit to Elsa.
Yeah, because they would all get renamed.
Uh huh. Well, actually, all the other ones kept the original names
Oh,
because they all
really?
went to people that I had known from like my mum's work.
Yeah. And they wanted to keep the original name.
Uh huh. And I
Oh, I
told them what
love
the names were,
that.
and they'd kept them.
That means there
But
was Oreo,
yeah,
stuff like that, and
so
Hershey.
we had made the decision pretty much to keep Oreo and Hershey because we didn't really nobody was coming to get them,
Yeah.
and obviously we weren't just going to like get rid of them.
Yeah.
So we were preparing, I guess, to just keep those two rabbits when one of my mum's friends, she ended up taking on both Oreo and Hershey together
Okay.
for her daughters,
Uh-huh.
which was really good because that meant I got to go and visit Oreo and Hershey regularly,
Yeah.
like whenever I wanted.
Yeah. So does that mean there
So
was no kids?
yeah, so it ended up going back to just Patch and Chestnut, which was very weird because obviously by this point I had had these rabbits for like I want to say like a month or two.
Yeah. I wonder what
'Cause
Patch was thinking. All of her
I
kids
know. I
just got
mean, bless her, she did
yeeted.
do really
I
well.
know.
Like
Because I feel like
she
she would
literally
have
was.
wanted.
I know. I mean, I wanted all of them, but
I would
like,
also be like that. But then it would get too chaotic once they all grow up into
uh-huh.
their little. Because obviously people would want
So
a rabbit when they're young. They wouldn't really
yeah,
want like an older rabbit. They would want to see the baby grow into its.
Chestnut wasn't a very involved father, but he was always there. It's just normally the male doesn't really do anything with the babies anyway.
Yeah, because they
Like it's
know that
always
the mum
it's
would be
up to
want
the
to be
mother.
protected as well.
But so I
I mean, I
would go
guess he
visit
couldn't
Oreo and
really help
Hershey.
out much anyway. The best he
Yeah,
could probably do is comfort. Like,
I would visit Oreo and Hershey regularly. And then one time I went over to visit and they were like, "Oh, we've got a surprise for you." And I was like, "Oh, what is it?" And I walked up to where they keep their rabbits and Oreo and Hershey had babies.
I love that.
So,
So that means the one that they took were both male and female.
yeah.
Like they weren't the same. Did you have any indication if they were both the same gender, or did you know that they were different gender,
Um
or did you just kind of
I
just
don't
didn't know and just
I
kind of got
don't think I really knew, to be honest.
yeah?
But
But so, how about
um
when you were what? How about when you were going over there regularly? Did you just kind of assume that they were both the same gender?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I just like it was nice to see them, but yeah, and I mean they ended up having like pretty much they fell into the same situation as my friend did, as in their babies kept also having babies, and yeah, they ended up with lots of rabbits.
I'm
But
guessing
one
they
of my
still
other
have lots of
ones,
rabbits right now, or
I don't think so. I don't
oh,
think they have
no?
any rabbits anymore.
Okay.
But they eventually well no I guess not eventually, but one Caramel and I can't remember the name of the other rabbit, but that so Caramel and this other rabbit went to another one of my mum's friends together,
Uh-huh.
and surprise surprise they also had babies. So this was like this was like obviously another like so this was Patch and Chestnut's grandchildren at this point,
Yes.
and I was actually allowed to take one of their babies and keep that one.
Uh,
And that's how Pancake was brought into the
is
world.
that the other
And I
one?
brought, yep, the other one on the picture.
That'll be the one that the white and brown. You
Yeah.
say?
It wasn't even really like a brown, it was like a golden color.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, so I brought her home, and then I had Patch, Chestnut, and their granddaughter because Pancake was a girl, and um, they, I guess, they lived all kind of like together as like a little unit. But like
Yeah,
obviously at this point, Patch and Chestnut did live in separate cages because they didn't want to breed again.
yeah. They
But
didn't want
they,
to, or you didn't want.
my dad didn't want them to. Um,
I know
but
by
they
this
would,
point, I wonder if you can calculate how many there would be compared to like where they all kind of started at your friends. That would be over like
although
hundreds.
actually, I guess it was kind of, I guess by some kind of miracle that this somehow happened, that when Patch was out, because we let them out at like different intervals of
Uh-huh.
the day so they could get a run around in the garden. At one point, Chestnut did escape with and was running around with Patch after the babies. So there was a potential chance that she could have had more,
Yeah.
but she never did.
I wonder how their family tree would look.
I know. I mean, the like some of the rabbits did go on to, I guess, like more random people
Yeah. Yeah,
that
like
I
you
don't
would
really
kind of
know.
promote it in a way so like anyone can just
Uh huh.
message and say that they would like one kind of thing.
Uh huh. So then I guess that's really where my whole rabbit story and journey came to an end. Is I had both Patch,
Yeah.
Chestnut, and Pancake for many more years.
Yeah.
And then sadly somehow Pancake ended up passing away, which we think was to some kind of just another illness.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like
it could
it's
be
annoying,
enough.
I guess. It's annoying, I guess, how common it can be, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like a difficult thing to also try and help.
Yes.
So, and then very recently, sadly, um, Patch passed away. But I think like obviously by this point, Patch was quite an old
Yeah.
girl. I definitely think she probably could have had a few more years, I
Definitely an
suppose, left
old
in
girly
her.
girls.
But
Yeah.
like she was getting on a bit, so she ended up passing away. And then literally like the week after she passed away, Chestnut also passed away, who at this point he was also fairly old. But I also think that he might have genuinely, I think he died of a broken heart personally. That's what I choose to believe
Yeah.
because
It's
he
weird that they're
was,
that close together, yeah, because it wouldn't have
yeah.
been illness, you wouldn't think.
So I think that they died pretty much together and then they were buried together because they were like, by this point, they were little husband and wife
Pretty much,
bunny
yeah. It's
who
like a
had been
Bella
there
and
for each
Bobby
other for
tale,
years.
but with
Uh huh.
bunnies.
And then obviously now currently I don't have any rabbits, but I definitely, I would like to even just get one rabbit for now, or
Yeah.
like
And then
just to
start
have
the
one.
empire.
Yeah, have one rabbit, and then at a point when possible, I would definitely like to have baby
Yes.
bunnies
And would
again,
you want them
just
indoors
because
instead of outdoors then? 'Cause
I think so. Yeah, I would prefer them to
how
be
does that work though?
indoors.
Does that mean they're allowed to run around like the house? Or
Well, it like you can, I guess, some rabbits are you can get house rabbits, which basically run around like dogs.
yeah.
Like that is a thing that exists, but like obviously you've got to do a certain amount of training, and I would love to be able to do that. It's just at the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah.
I would, I guess I wouldn't recommend a rabbit running around with a dog in the house or a cat in the house, just because you don't know how they would react to each other. But what I would like is, I guess, like a certain area designated for rabbits. That's like a shed, I suppose, but like been kind of transformed into something for the rabbits specifically, where they've got like their own space.
Yeah.
I've seen like lots of like videos that I used to watch when I first got my rabbits about like those types of things. So I guess I would like to do and sort something out that would be like that at some point
Yeah,
for them.
yeah.
But I would love to get another rabbit, just like literally whenever. I would love another little rabbit because I do love my bunnies and I miss them every
You
day.
do. You do.
But like,
I wonder how
you
many,
know,
like, from your friends, from, like, that family tree, I
I
wonder how
know.
many there's been, because obviously they're still populating to this day,
Uh-huh.
because obviously they've spread out across the entire world, probably.
I know. And like
They
whenever I
spread
see
fast,
like
you know? At least they
whenever I see
know
a
that
rabbit,
that family tree's not going to be extinct anytime soon.
yes. Whenever I see a rabbit, if you're just like out and about and you just see one like in a field, it always reminds me of my rabbits. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
my little bunnies.
yeah. I know, it's adorable. Love that little tail.
But
I know, because I've
yeah,
learned
I'd
a
say
lot from. Also, I guess I've heard little bits now and then, but I've never heard
yeah.
the story as a
No, yeah,
whole.
that's like pretty much the full
Yeah,
tale
yeah.
of like I have had experience with baby hamsters as well, but that only happened once.
The
And
hamsters?
yeah, the same person who ended up with 50 billion rabbits
Here.
at first had hamsters who somehow the two hamsters ended up breeding
Yeah,
and they had baby hamsters and I really wanted to take one of those hamsters home, but I wasn't allowed.
from who?
It was EVs again.
Yeah, no, but like, who didn't allow you?
Just mum and dad.
Well, can't be them. That like
I
you've had hamsters now. Why would?
yes. Although, like to get my hamster at home, who lives back in England, is called Apollo, and he's very old now. I don't know how he's still because these dwarf hamsters are only supposed to live up to 2 years,
Yeah.
and this hamster's going on 3.
Yeah, although they
Which like
are very spoiled and they do have like a 5-story house.
yes, yeah, my hamster at home does have like a 5-story enclosure with like anything it could ever ask for.
Yeah, like
Um,
one story is filled like where you can't actually see into, so they've got an entire enclosed space just for themselves, and then
yeah.
like all the other stories have got like a lot of climbing
So
frames. Just it's the maximum.
that hamster is called Apollo,
Hmm.
like I said, and he's an old one, but like he was my first hamster, and the only reason I got well, not actually no, he wasn't my first ever hamster, but like my first
Main
proper,
one,
I guess, ever
yeah.
hamster that was solely mine. And the only reason I got him is I got him for Christmas one year because I wrote a 5-page PowerPoint as to why I should be allowed a hamster and why I wanted one and what I would do to look after it and how I would look after it. And I gave it to my dad
And
and
did
my
it work?
mum. Yeah, it worked. I got the hamster, obviously. It's how I got Apollo. And I got the cage for Christmas and then I went and picked him out on
I can just picture your face being so
Boxing Day.
excited and just pointing at the hamster and having like your biggest smile on,
Uh-huh.
and then just looking at it and we're like, no.
And Apollo, like, no offense to, Munchie and Blossom, but Apollo is my little chubby baby hamster who's always been so chill and chubby and nice.
And lazy.
Like, I picked him out as he was sat in the food bowl in the pet store, and to this day, he always eats all of the food and, is a little chubby chubster.
Yes.
But, like,
I
he's
actually think that Apollo and Blossom can get on a lot.
no, yeah, a Blossom reminds me a lot of
Especially if they
Apollo.
were both like young together in the same cage when you got them.
Uh-huh.
Those hamsters would have got. Although saying that,
Yeah,
they probably would have had babies.
yes, because Apollo was a male.
Yeah.
Is a male. Apollo is still living.
Yeah. Munchie's very
He's just
independent, but she loves to
yeah.
climb. She's a climber-climbersons.
And then I
100%.
guess my only other important pet really that I have is I have a pet tortoise. But
Yes. That we do want to eventually bring.
yes, currently the tortoise lives back at home
Yes.
in England with the rest of my family.
Yes.
because I don't have enough space where we are currently to look after a tortoise.
No.
But
Yes.
I would like to
this is
one
the end of
day.
the wall there, right here, and then this is the other wall. I can literally touch my hand across from each wall. That's how small.
Uh-huh.
There's no walking space. We've got all of the
So,
counters have got something on them because we've also got fish.
but my tortoise is called AJ after AJ in the Walking Dead Telltale games, and I would like to readopt him into my current household
Yes, because that
when
tortoise is gonna outlive us, to be honest.
yes, that tortoise. He's like, I think he's like, he's not really that old to be honest. I think he's like, um, maybe like just 2 years old,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Like he's not like that old, but like he should live a very, very long time.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, he's just a tortoise. He doesn't like. He's just a very lazy
Little blob.
little guy, really.
That's kind of what they are, I guess. I guess it just depends on the season. Because once it's summer, is
Yeah,
that not when they're
yeah.
active? And
He's more active in the summer,
yeah,
but yeah. So then we've also got fish, but I mean, obviously, you can't really do much with fish.
well, a
I mean,
lot keeps
I,
happening with our fish.
I definitely had the odd few fish throughout my life as
Yeah,
well,
I
like
did
at
as
home.
well. Yeah, we had
But
5 goldfish at one point, and each one we got to name one because there was 5 of us in the family, and then 5 fish, so we each got to name one. Can't remember what happened to mine, but they all died in horrific, gruesome ways. Like one goldfish ate one, another one was pierced by a tree, another one got stuck in the filter and was like blub 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 blub. And it was one I think even exploded because they ate the other fish. It was honestly like I don't even know what happened. It was a massacre in there.
some of like the fish that I had at home, like they're still alive, but they got moved out into the outdoor pond just so that they could grow bigger and have
Oh,
more room.
yeah, yeah.
And so that they're just like goldfish that live in the outdoor pond now, but they've no joke, like I think they're probably like a decade old.
We should give Gubbles into there. Launch Gubbles
Yes.
in and hope for the best.
But yeah, so then we have like our fishies here. We've got two of them,
But
but
we've had a lot more.
then
I can
obviously I guess
I can
the
go.
current timeline of animals is the hamsters with first Munchie and then Blossom, who Munchie actually is almost coming on 1 year of us having her.
Yeah, it's crazy actually.
And then
She's a
obviously
lot
we got Blossom.
smaller than Blossom as well.
Uh-huh. We got
Blossom lost
Blossom on
8.
Christmas. We got Blossom on Christmas Eve last year.
Oh, was it not Boxing Day?
No, it was Christmas Eve.
Oh, okay, Christmas Eve. I said I've been telling everyone Boxing Day.
No, it was Christmas Eve.
Yeah, because it had to be before Christmas because
Uh-huh.
they had to. We got them as a baby because they released
They needed.
them into the
Uh-huh.
public earlier, so that they can hopefully all be bought before the Christmas. Because obviously they'll have to shut down for
Uh-huh.
that.
And Blossom is our little shiny Pokemon of hamsters, is what we have always said. Because I've seen many dwarf hamsters, but never one that looks like Blossom.
Yes, no blossoms, blonde, like creamy
So,
color.
uh-huh.
It's really nice. I'm trying to find
And
all the
then,
names of our fish. Oh, our fishies' names. Found them.
next I'm getting a cat.
We'll have to see about that. We'll have to see about. Oh yeah, you've never
No,
really had a dog. You've had my
and
dogs, I guess now.
no, yeah, and then I guess obviously I guess Bella and Bobby, the doggos, come into my story of animals before
But they're like
Munchie,
older
but
dogs now, aren't they?
yeah, Bella and Bobby have been here well before I've been here, so
Yeah, they adopted you.
uh-huh.
I mean, it took them a while to get used to you, but they've actually got used to you now. Because obviously you
I
would
mean,
come over here for either weekends or come here for a week, and it wasn't
yeah,
you weren't here enough for them to understand why you kept coming until you
yeah,
actually properly moved in and settled. Then they just got used to you, and now they're excited when you the
yeah.
doors and
Bella doesn't eat me anymore.
no, she just sticks out her tongue and kind of looks confused at you.
Yeah,
A little confused little girl. Right, so
She's
should
baby,
I go for the name, the fish's name?
if you want.
I've found the little notes page. So the first one that I wrote down was sloth, and I put in brackets, orange one, yellow tail that doesn't move, chubby cheeks.
That's
Because
because, for context, sloth was pretty much a disabled fish.
yeah, they didn't.
That's
They had the
that's
little
like
flutters.
that's who sloth was.
I
Sloth was
loved
a poor
sloth.
little disabled
Yeah,
fish.
sloth didn't survive the night when we got sloth.
Yeah, which
Sloth
like
died that very day that we bought sloth. Like one
yeah,
thing, and I don't even care if I'm shading pets at home. Um, their fish are not taken care of to what they say, or even the recommendations that they give
yeah. Don't buy
aren't
fish from there.
correct because we're only allowed like little teeny little fish, and we've got like a tank that's like, I guess I could pan over to it, but like it is a good, decent tank. Right now we've only got two fish in there, and they're living out their luxurious life because all of the other fishies kept dying. And like I was
And then
constantly
so
like, I was so confused by it all. Like it was
it's
okay with
just
sloth
in
because
fact the only thing is the only fish from Pets at Home that has survived is 007.
yes, yeah, we bought
We
when we got other fish, we
we
didn't
got
buy
them
from them
day
anymore.
one.
Yeah,
007 was the only day one who is still
yeah,
currently alive to
yes.
this day.
Yeah, the next one is Bubble 7, and that's the fast dark one that was named by my mother. Sloth was named as I've put me and you, but I thought it was
Yeah.
primarily
I
me
mean
that named
we
Sloth.
yeah, but I mean we guess we basically both named all of them,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Then we had Magikarp. That was the yellowish head, orange one with slight
Wait,
yellow tail, smaller than Sloth.
that one was named by Silver, aka
Yeah,
Amy.
Amy. Yeah, that was Magikarp. I didn't know Magikarp was smaller than Sloth. I wrote that. Then we've got No
Mm.
Name. I've literally wrote No Name, by the way, so we didn't get to name this one fast enough because it died. That's the fast light one. Oh, it's the fast one. It's the twin to Pablo
Oh
7.
yeah,
The yellow top, silver stomach.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Wasn't it supposed?
that one was, we got two that was kind of similar. And I guess Sloth and Magikarp was also similar.
Yeah.
We kind of got twos of different versions of like their breed kind of thing. Like, so we got two of that kind of thing. The next one is lime, which is the lime colored fish. And I really like the lime, but lime just started to get very slow and it kept hiding. There's a little barrel that we've got in the fish tank, and it was just hiding in that barrel for a very long time. It would still
Mhm. Yeah,
move.
because I want to point out that we looked after these fish like
Oh
perfectly.
yeah,
We
yeah,
didn't do anything to
yeah,
disturb all of these
yeah,
fish. This was purely because
yeah.
of how they were treated
When we bought the
previous to
new
us.
fish from a different owner, I think we even talked about to them, and then they were just like saying of the way that they were even talking. Like this person knew how to fish because
Yeah,
in the Pets at Home one, they said you have to change the filter every month or something like that. And then we told that this guy that we changed the filter so that we can
the
get
fish
these.
expert.
And then he was like, "No, why did you do that? That could like present a lot more bacteria now to the fish because the filter's now like open and it's not got their own kind of like,
Hmm.
I don't know how it works to be
The
honest with
fish
fish.
make their own bacteria,
Yeah, like which
which is
helps
healthy
them.
for them.
Yeah, and then they've got like their algae kind of thing that they start creating as well, and like the
Hmm.
cloudiness of the water. The Pets at Home doesn't like all that. They want it to be like pristine and clean, but like the whole point is that fish are building their own home. Like a lot of like fish that live out their days live in this, like, I guess to us, disgusting green water, but like that's healthy for them because they're the ones creating it to help themselves. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if you're cleaning out their water every month, they're eventually just going to die out because they don't have the correct stuff for them to survive. Because we just keep
Hmm.
cleaning it right out back out, which is bringing in new bacteria that is bad for them.
Yep.
Don't know if it's correct, but like pretty much if you've got a filter, just leave that filter in for their fish because they know what they're doing and they don't need our help.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Because fish are extremely temperamental animals as it is.
Yes. Yes. Yes, the next one we called was Spear, and this was it had a black spike throughout, and it was orange. It had an orange tail and a light stomach. I don't really remember Spear, to be honest, but one called Spear. Then we had Ripple, which was a small fish. It had silver/blue orange tail, and you named that one.
Oh,
It
okay.
was Ripple. I think I remember those ones. They were very small.
Yeah, I think I do as
Yeah,
well.
and then there was Swirl, which was the bigger version of your one with the silver/blue orange tail.
Yeah.
And then we had the new one. So that was all of our old ones. So we had about 7, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
And then
think so.
only Bubble 7 is here today. Then we've got Nettle. Actually, we kept calling her Nettles, but here I wrote just Nettle. But I kind of like Nettles more.
Yeah.
Nettle sounds better than Nettle. Like, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
here's Nettle. No, here's Nettles. And that was a black moor, is what I've wrote here. So I've got the proper fish name instead of like silver, orange, black tail. This is a black moor. And then we've got Sansa. And for this one, I just wrote white orange head. Clearly, I didn't really understand which that one was, but at least I knew Nettles was a black moor. And then Gubbles, which is spots with black eye.
Who's still alive?
Yes, we've still got Gubbles and we've still got Bubble 07. But that's our little mini fish story. I could go on forever about fish, to be honest, because honestly, I really, really did love Sloth and Lime. Those were like my two favorites. Like Sloth, just that Slothy's face was just so adorable. I don't know how really. I guess you know what I think how Nettles it didn't make it. See Nettles and Sansa. Nettles and Sansa
Mm.
got on really, really well, and they would always be together in the tank and all constantly swimming together. Gubbles is very independent as well as Bubble 7. Like they don't really. I guess they don't really care for each other in the tank. They just kind of swim their own little ways. But Nettles and Sansa was always together anytime that we were looking over at the tank. And I think Sansa did get some sort of illness because wasn't dying straight away. She just kind of no. You know what she did? I know how Sansa died again. I can remember it now. She had air in her lungs, and there wasn't really much we could do about it. We did do a lot of research about having it and the ways that we could solve it, and she kept being upside down because of the
Yeah.
air in her stomach. And then
She hang on for a good
she
while.
did, and then she got better because I know we did do some stuff. I think we added more of. I can't remember what we did, but or if we didn't do anything, I can't remember. But we were looking into stuff to see what you
Yeah.
could do to help. And I did know eventually she did start to get a lot better, and she was going her normal way again, and she was just swimming, and she wasn't sleeping upside down anymore as well. And then she kind of went back into her own way, and then started to go back upside down again. And then eventually she did pass away. But then, even shortly after, I think it was a couple weeks after, Nettles started to get very slow and was just constantly at the bottom of
Yeah.
the watering tank and wasn't going up for food anymore. So I don't know if Nettles was just an old fish and
Yeah.
didn't have the strength to really swim up anymore, because that's how whales die. Whales never die from old age. They die from technically their age and just how weak they get and can't go back up to the surface anymore to get air. So they kind of suffocate and drown. That's kind of how whales die. So it's technically to do with their age, but they don't die from complications from their age. They die because they can't breathe because they go up from air and they can't reach the surface because
Yeah.
they're too weak. So I guess that was kind of the same of how kind of I guess Nettles maybe is that they couldn't get up to as well really. They could only really rely on if the flakes would start to like go down and turn to the
Yeah.
surface.
No
That's
doubt.
their only little source of food if Gobbles didn't eat it all, because Gobbles is quite a big fish. Um, and then I'm gonna say, and then Gobbles and Bubble 7. That's just got to be honest.
Yeah.
But I feel like Nettles got really. I don't know what really happened, to be honest, but it's because I feel like it was because of Sansa, but that's just because they were
Yeah,
kind of,
that's the story of the fish.
yeah, they were like best buddies. Yeah, that was our little story of the fishy fish. But we still got two, and we're holding on. I couldn't.
Yes.
They feel like both male, to be honest. Like Gubbles gives off male energy, and so does 007.
Yeah.
But that's just. I feel like Sansa was female, but that's just because I named them Sansa. I don't know who Nettles was. Mysterious.
Yeah.
I feel like more on the male side,
Yeah.
but it could be female. If you told me Nettles was female, I'd believe that.
Me too.
Right. So that was any stories. That was that question. The next thing that I wrote is our story and how we met and what we did up to meeting. So I guess I can start and then you can fill in any spaces in case I've missed out something that's mainly.
Okay.
But we mainly started, well, the thing, I won't say exactly how we met, but what we used to do once we started talking and getting to know each other, um, I think it was me that messaged you and asked if you wanted to play. I think it was Fortnite. It was
Yeah.
Fortnite. And then I thought you were going to say no, but you said yes. And then I got excited, but also very, very nervous. And then I started to set up, play some Fortnite. And then I didn't know if you were, I didn't think you were going to speak on the mic. Because I just didn't think that I thought we were just gonna
Yeah.
randomly just play without talking, and then I remember you messaging and saying, "Just getting on now, just need to find my mic, lol," something like that. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, wait, they weren't in to speak."
Yeah.
I
I
didn't.
was terrible when it came to like I swear that like my headset was like haunted by a ghost because I swear I'd put it down somewhere and then I would go back to it the next day and it would be gone. And
I
I'd be
mean,
like, well, someone's moving it.
you said that like it's your dad that always loves to come in and clean. So
Yeah,
it's probably that kept getting
quickly.
moved, but like you put it down there because you know it's there. If it gets
But
moved, it just
just
completely.
because I want everybody to be aware we did not meet on Fortnite or because of Fortnite. That
No,
definitely is not what happened.
no.
I messaged him saying happy birthday.
Yes, you were
That was
stalking
the
me.
very first interaction that we ever had,
Yes, stalked.
and that was not on Fortnite.
No,
Just so
no,
everybody's
we
aware.
didn't. We didn't get into a random score.
Yes, it wasn't like this Fortnite bit came like later.
Yes, this was yeah. We once they messaged once Luke messaged me, saying happy birthday. It was you kind of messaged me in a way that I had to respond to it because you also said hope you had or hope you're having a great day, which
Yeah,
made me respond, and I made sure the way that I responded made you have to also respond back. So it gave you a question or something like that. And then from there, it kept messaging. Messages were getting into paragraphs. Then they got into essays. And then from there, like literally, it was essays.
yeah.
Like essay, like
And
like
then
like
if we
sometimes,
started
yeah,
talking,
no. Sometimes we would message that much that it would say, "Oh, this was the max that you write," and
yeah,
then you would have to send that one and then continue
and then
writing.
continue
But
writing.
at the end of the message, you'll be like, "This isn't the end. This is. It told me I couldn't say anymore, so I'm still typing." Something like that.
And that like it was through that messaging, like we kind of mentioned it earlier, where I asked you about what songs you listen to,
Yes.
and that's where you told me Taylor Swift, and I was like, oh, which ones? And you were like, oh, this is her most recent album,
And
because
I
at the
sent
time
you
it
a
was
link.
true. You sent me the link to Evermore.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh yeah, I'll listen to it. And I genuinely did listen to it like pretty much straight away after you recommended it to me.
Yeah.
But I
No.
did not think that I would get as attached as I have,
Taylor Swift
clearly.
is your profile picture. That is just
She is.
showing you how attached that you are to Taylor Swift.
Yes.
What was I? Yeah. So then we started playing Fortnite. We only played it that once. I think we
Yeah,
played like Team Rumbles, and then the next day we played
Minecraft.
Minecraft, and you were really, really tired, so we didn't
Yeah,
play for
I
that.
like fell asleep
You didn't play for that
basically the
long, but I
entire
remember you
time.
apologizing like 70 different times, but I didn't really care. But
Uh
also,
huh.
the place that we made was horrendous.
It was.
But I
I
loved
was.
the bedroom with the weird bird.
It was just like playing Minecraft that day was just a bad decision to begin with because I love the Minecraft music. It's so peaceful.
Yeah.
So I was just like listening to the Minecraft
What
music,
did you do that
trying
day,
not to
though, to
fall
make you so
asleep.
tired?
I must have been at college.
Yeah. Been a big, big, long day.
Uh huh. But like I was exhausted,
Yeah.
and the Minecraft music just made it worse.
Yeah, because you were in college and I was also in college at the same time.
Yeah.
Right, so after that, the next day was Ark. And we played Ark for the longest, longest time.
Yeah.
I think it was me that
Love that.
recommended you to. I didn't know if you already had it. Did you already have it? You did, right?
Yeah, I had already played Ark
Yeah, because I
like
think we
many
already talked
times
about kind of
before.
what games we had.
Uh
And
huh.
when I know that you said that, and I wanted to play it really badly, but we played that a lot, a lot.
Uh huh.
And we had a full on. I wrote a short story on it. I didn't ever upload the short story, but I've got it. I might upload that because also in the last podcast, I talked about wanting to write more. So I might even go back to that and finish that and then upload that because that story of like Roy, which was our little dinosaur little guy that you could like
Uh
pet.
huh.
He had a full on story. Like we got I think that was the first pet that we had. We had dodos as well, a lot of dodos. And I remember
Yeah.
naming every single one of them and we had so like we kept getting attacked, but Roy for some reason would be the only one that lived. Like so we
Mhm.
would have like
Every
12
time.
dodos, 3 of those other things. It would die. And then we had like this little bean island. It was hard to it's on the map and it looked like a little bean. We lived there and then it would get attacked and then we would move and would have to build like this raft. We would always manage to get Roy on there somehow, transport them, build somewhere else. I remember we started building up somewhere very high and then we got attacked up there again, but we had like stone bases as well. They would use bombs. Like they really
Yeah.
did not like us at all. And then from there, I was like, we have to move now. And then we started moving somewhere else, and then we kind of got to this like a beach place. But also there was a raptor. No, I think it was actually a Carnosaurus. It
Yeah.
wasn't a raptor because a raptor would have been easier to kill. And I remember we also
Yeah.
had a crocodile named Scar, and Scar protected Roy so much, like it was like a bodyguard. And as Scar in this Carnosaurus, because if Scar was up against a raptor, the raptor would have died. It was definitely a Carnosaurus, and that was attacking Scar. And meanwhile, I was trying to get Roy, and there was something else. I think it was a dodo of some sorts. I think it was called Lady Ark and we was trying to get
Yeah.
her
Maybe.
and Roy to safety across this little stream of water as Scar and this Carnosaurus was attacking. And we managed to get it across, and Scar died, and the Carnosaurus was just kind of eating Scar for the longest time ever as we were across the street. What to do? And
Uh
then we
huh.
kind of got way back to this stone little area, and that's where we both put Roy and Lady Ark. And then we waited days and we started gathering resources to build another raft, and we did that for like a while. I think it was a couple of days actually, where we were just
Yeah.
constantly gathering because we kept dying and having to get new stuff, and we kept hiding behind this rock and saving and ended the game there. Because what Ark does is if you end the game, it's still going on because it's a server, so the game never
Yeah.
ends, so your body is just there and anyone can come up to you and just you if they want to. So we hid behind this rock that was underwater because it was a big rock. And we kept going there. And then we eventually built a raft and started swimming away in this ginormous. I don't even know what it was. It was kind of like an alien version of like a whale.
Scary
I,
fish thing.
what?
The scary big fish
Yes,
thing.
a scary big fish thing that came out of the water, broke our raft, and that's how Roy in Lady Ark was murdered. And it
Yes.
was very upset. It was very upsetting.
I hate the ocean on that game. It terrifies me.
It does terrify me as well. I thought because what I was going to do, what our plan was to go so far into that ocean and just stay there and live our lives and build upon that raft and build an adorable little house, because you can do that. It's kind of like the game Raft, where you have to gather and you can build like a house. That's what we were planning to do on that raft. And I didn't realize there was an update where a big fish thing would come out and murder you if you go too far into the water now.
Yeah.
And I remember that scream, like that curdling scream that I made and that happening. I was like, where's Roy? Because it didn't come up, they died straight away. And then
Yeah.
eventually came up that they were dying. Oh, wait, actually, I don't actually know if they actually properly died. I think we just lost them, to be honest.
Yeah. What were we talking about before Ark? Kind of
Minecraft and you getting very sleepy.
Oh yeah, I forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah.
We sidetracked again.
It's how we met. It was
Oh yeah.
I felt like I had to tell the entire Ark story because it was very. And by the way, I do want to play Ark again.
Me too.
That's something that I want to do and create like a series on it, because then we'll be. Oh, we need to build Roy again. Build Roy. We need to play back in Easter though, because Easter is where you got all the Easter colors.
Yeah.
There's so much we want to do now, because like also with the Nintendo Switch and playing all those old games, I can't wait to do that. Okay.
What happened after Ark?
Well,
I mean, I guess it was just.
I think that's when we went back to Fortnite, and you started introducing me to your friends, and I started introducing you to my friends.
It was just lots of in between, whatever.
Yeah, but Ark was like the main thing that we played the most.
General conversations and whatnot.
Yeah, well, just playing like a low game.
Yeah.
Then we started getting into like stuff as well, and an Xbox.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, but that was like further on. That's when we actually like when you saw my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next question is, what is your passion? What do you do? And what do you want to do in the future?
I mean,
what do you see yourself doing, really? Like in the like far future, what would make you the most happiest?
Well, moving out into our own place
Uh-huh.
with space where we can live.
I meant like with space.
And breathe.
Like with space.
No, like with actual room.
Yeah.
That we can actually
Room
live
for
and breathe in.
I know.
Room for our own PlayStations, room for our own TV, room for our
to
own
play
bed.
Just Dance. That's the sort of room we need. Is Just Dance level of room.
Yes.
Or VR based
and
room.
Then also just getting more, I guess being able to actually rescue more animals and look after them.
Yeah.
And just like,
oh my gosh, what is it? Quails? Are they called quails?
Oh my god, I love quails. I want a quail so badly.
I remember watching Joanna Cedia a lot on her quails.
I used to love looking after the quails when I was in college.
Incubate them, but like their eggs. That's what we'll do.
Freaking
I think we should start with eggs and see how many we would get out of the eggs.
I nearly bought a quail.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I really wanted a quail.
Adorable.
I did. I really want one.
We do want quails. We've won a lot, and I want to progress on each animal we have.
Yeah, but only when we have space.
Yeah, because right now it's just not like I can. Like, hi guys, here you go. Could do challenge videos with our hamsters.
Yes.
We can introduce them. It's Flo Blossom in. Like, here's Munchie. Get along, please.
I don't think they'd appreciate that.
Blossom wouldn't care. It'll be Munchie that would start attacking Blossom. Blossom would just look confused. No, Blossom would look betrayed because we'll be throwing Blossom back into her old home cage, and then she'll know that Munchie's now in it.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, why? Why was I replaced it? But then, obviously, if we did Munchie, if Munchie went into Blossom's cage, then Munchie will be like, wait, this is my old cage, and now you've put another hamster in it. They are all professional. Don't worry, for that. It wasn't going to be cross. And everything, all of their items that they had went into their own cage again. So like they're not using each other's wheels.
Yeah.
They moved their wheel into their wheel.
Yes.
Oh, there was a whole thing with their water. It was the cage that Munchie was originally in, her newer cage. Munchie had
Mhm.
a cage that she bit the kind of metal bars on it, and we didn't like that.
And
So
I
we got like a one that had a more of a dome kind of thing.
and I guess for what I'm doing currently is I'm I'm going back to college to continue learning a different path other than animals, because I've been not sure what I wanted to do, but I've decided that I want to go back to college and do some more studying
Yes.
for other things.
Yes.
And that's what I'll be mainly focusing on for the next year.
Yeah, you've got a placement as well. Like you've got a
Yeah,
place for the college.
yeah, I'm in already. It doesn't
Yeah.
start for a few months. So
Yes. You know, I've only got one more year.
woo!
Scary, but it's kind of like it's good that there's a year because then
It aligns with mine perfectly.
yeah, I feel like it aligns with mine as well because now that I've got one more year, I feel like that's all I really actually need, to be honest. Because then hopefully
Yeah,
over there, stuff will just progress and
yeah,
building on. So yeah, but yes, we had Munchie's original cage in their water. We didn't know why, but it kept draining super fast, and water doesn't usually do that. In case if you didn't know that hamsters can't drink a gallon of water a day. What we realized is it was damaged when we got it.
yeah,
So now we've got an extra one that works though. The water doesn't look like it's ever getting touched, but it is getting touched.
yeah,
Yeah. Is there any other questions
yeah.
that I did not say that you wanted me to tell or wanted to say that you've not got a
Um,
chance to say yet?
I don't think so. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. We talked about rabbits for like way too long.
We did. But like that was perfect. I needed that rabbit story because I didn't know the full story before. So
I know.
hopefully everyone loved that rabbit story.
Yes.
You should all love animals. This was an animal podcast.
Yes, it was. But I
But
love
yeah,
that.
that is the podcast. If you have enjoyed and you've not yet left a like on the podcast, definitely do so. It definitely does let me know that you do enjoy these podcasts, as well as leave comments and suggestions. Suggestions in the comments. So because it's a
About
podcast,
your
I can't edit
favorite
that
Taylor
part out.
Swift song.
Yeah, just comment away. Leave lots of comments of just different things that you liked about the podcast or questions that you want us to answer in a different podcast.
And reasons as to why I should get a cat.
We don't need those.
Yes,
And
yes,
yeah,
we
and
do.
if you're not yet subscribed and you have watched this throughout the entire podcast, make sure to do so, as if you watch the entire podcast, you might as well subscribe, as I do podcasts every Monday at around 5:30, but not today. This would not be getting uploaded at 5:30 because it's already past 5:30 and it's not possible anymore. So I'm just going to upload this as quickly as possible. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you all in the next podcast. But bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.